Nebraska Senator Pete Ricketts. So, Senator, I mean, $750 billion investment in American resources. It helps Americans. It hurts Russia. I mean, this is a great deal and a win for the American people.
Absolutely. President Trump is continuing to work to level the playing field for America around the world. The EU was one of the most egregious offenders when it came to trade deals. I saw that personally when I was a governor and went through on trade missions. They took advantage of our systems. They blocked our agricultural products. And now, of course, President Trump in his first term warned them about buying Russian energy. Now the Europeans are finally coming around to say, hey, we need to buy American energy so we're not dependent on Russia. They've got a dictator, Putin, who has started another ground war in Europe. This is really, really a good deal for America. It's really going to help us with so many different things, digital assets and everything like that. This is going to be a great, great deal for America.
Yeah, and another winner from that EU trade deal, American farmers. Australia avoiding higher tariffs earlier this month by making a deal to loosen restrictions on U.S. beef imports as the president continues to expand trade access across the globe. So can you elaborate a little bit on this and how does it help the farmer?
Yeah, when I was there, again, one of the things we saw is that they have non-tariff trade barriers to block our biotechnology. They would put limits on how much beef, for example, they would import. Talking about the EU deal and the UK deal, the UK just agreed to take 13,000 metric tons of our beef. We've got the best tasting beef in the world. It's the highest quality. To put that in perspective, the UK agreed to do that with, 75 million people. The EU, with 449 million people, had the same level of quotas of only allowing 13,000 tons of our beef in. So you can see there's lots of opportunity to be able to open up these markets and get more of our products over there. They're the highest quality in the world. Again, being on the ground there personally, seeing what's going on in Europe, I can't tell you how excited I am to see the president really getting around to opening some of these markets up for us. For years, our allies have been taking advantage of us, and now President Trump is making it right.
Yeah, and I can neither confirm nor deny if the deal with Australia included a bloomin' onion. But they're definitely going to get some American beef.
No.
But Senator, I mean, look, this is a huge win because even some of our friends like Mexico, Canada, and others are still holding out, and they still have a lot of trade barriers, especially when it comes to agriculture. So the president is setting the stage here going, we're not having it anymore, even amongst our friends.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important. So, for example, under USMCA and previously under NAFTA, Canada agreed to open up their dairy markets to us, but they kept making internal rules that would effectively shut out U.S. dairy, and that was part of the problem here. So I appreciate the president taking that on. You mentioned Australia. You know, for the last 20-odd years, we've bought like $29 billion worth of Australian beef, and they've purchased exactly zero of ours. And of course, thanks to President Trump, just recently, Australia agreed to start taking our beef. You know, that's a big deal. Again, when we have close allies like Australia, we ought to be able to work out these deals so that they can take some of our products. This is important. And, you know, the other thing, too, to really remember here is the Biden administration was the first administration since Jimmy Carter not to cut a trade deal. And so we started running agricultural trade deficits. That's just ridiculous. We're the breadbasket of the world. We always ran an agricultural surplus, but not under Biden. Now President Trump is getting these markets open for us. So I expect to see that this will start turning around, that we'll be able to start selling more of our agricultural products overseas, and that will actually help us run a trade surplus again.
Yeah, and we just showed the list of those countries that still don't have a deal. And just in the past hour, the president reminding these countries on True Social, quote, the August 1st deadline is the August 1st deadline. It stands strong and will not be extended. A big day for America. Your reaction to the president, holding firm on this deadline?
Well, being here in Washington, D.C., I can tell you nothing happens without a deadline. The president needs to hold the deadline firm because otherwise he won't have any credibility. And I got to tell you, I've made visits to countries like the Philippines, and they said, hey, we want to cut a trade deal. Taiwan was like, hey, we'll buy more of your soybeans. We'll buy more of your energy. So these countries do want to cut a trade deal. I think the president's right to hold them accountable, to have a strict deadline, and then put the tariffs up if they don't get a deal done cut by the August 1st deadline.
All right. Nebraska Senator Pete Ricketts, great to have you on this morning with us, sir.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.